I am here today to share a secret, to make a point. But before I do, I have a question for all of you except Andrew Bryant, because I already know his answer. So please raise your hand if you would like to feel more confident. Come on, I know we don't like to admit it, but who in this room would like just a tad more confidence? My point is that the self-confidence most of us strive for is actually overrated and creates a trap. It does, it just gets us. And my secret today is that right now, looking at all of you professional speakers, I'm not feeling very confident. Because that is exactly the point. Confidence is not a prerequisite. That feels better now. And for me, letting go of my pursuit of confidence was like letting go of that backpack, like stepping into my pajamas when I get home at night, like making it to the loo just in time when you really, really need to go. I have spent 3 decades climbing the ladder in the business world, sitting at boardroom tables, wearing uncomfortable high heels. And what I have seen is that the pressure to be confident creates not confidence, but insecurity, anxiety, and sweaty palms. Does it sound familiar? All of us hear that and not professional speakers yet, may not be feeling very confident. Or those of you who are very accomplished, you look at someone you admire and there's that little hint of lack of confidence. We do suffer it sometimes. And of course, what do we try and do? We try to patch it with degrees, promotions, a bit of Botox, or other things. But nothing that we do seems to make us feel better. And why does this happen? Because deep down, we believe we need to be perfect. I remember the day I came to that realization, do you? I was this little girl with red hair, believe it or not. And I have this faint memory of being in the kitchen with my mother. And she was sat at a distance, crying. And I vividly remember looking at her and thinking, if I'm a good girl, she will be happy. And that was the precise moment my other self appeared. And Marta is now thinking, she's got it wrong. It's not her other self that appeared, it's her inner critic. And Andrew there thinking, oh my God, not another inner critical speech. Don't do this to me. But just bear with me, because my other self was great. She had loads of fantastic advice. Be a good girl, you can do better than that. Dye your hair to keep it perfectly red. It was great, I did great, I achieved lots of great things. I have worked in finance, as you heard, for a very long time, so I couldn't help but share some numbers with you today. This is a timeline of my personal story by my other self side. At age 15, not a pretty sight, I actually dropped out of school because I lacked self-confidence and because I didn't listen to my other self's advice. At 25, however, I was proudly finishing a first-class honors degree because my other self insisted that people who don't go to university are not as clever. By 35, I was well on that career ladder because my other self kept saying, come on, Susana, you can do better than that. It was fantastic, so I kept following her advice because it worked. I had the picture-perfect life. I had a lovely family, I had a great career, and according to my mother, perfect hair. But here's the thing, and it's the big one. By the time I was 45, I was a CFO, I was successful, and I was exhausted. I was exhausted from trying to be the perfect girl, feeling confident all the time. And I broke. Literally, because I nearly died. And I know some of you might really want to know what happened next, but I only have 10 minutes today, so it's going to have to wait for another day. But in a nutshell, everything fell apart. So I walked away. I walked away from my marriage after 25 years. I walked away from the corporate career it took me decades to build. I even stopped dyeing my perfect red hair. I just couldn't do it anymore. That image I had spent years building, the confident woman, was just too heavy to carry. Like that backpack. And why does this matter to you? Because I know I am not the only one. Did you know that 3 out of 4 people globally suffer burnout at work? Look around you. That is 3/4 of all the people in this room. And burnout shows up as more than just exhaustion. It's that constant pressure to perform, to prove yourself, to keep it all together, even if you are crumbling inside. So, how do we get out of this confidence trap? Because, of course, there may be a happy ending coming, by the way. When we stop performing, and that might be a lot to be said in a room full of performers, when we stop performing and we start being real, our nervous system finally exhales. It just feels, But easier said than done. How do we become real? Let me tell you how I did it. I embraced my grace, for starter. And then I began to ask myself questions like, what really matters to me? What do I want to do with the rest of my life? And guess what I discovered? I discovered that there is a different type of confidence, not one that has to do with proving anything, but with knowing that I'm okay, I'm fine, just as I am. Even if I don't feel confident, even if I'm not successful, even if you don't enjoy my talk today, I am just fine. I used to think the goal was to become someone else, someone perfect, successful, always confident. But I was wrong. So if you remember, just 3 things from today. First of all, how could we name that confidence? It's difficult to name, right? So I had to come up with my own word. Would you like to know what it is? Yes. Flow-rageous, which means having the courage to flow. Living life with self-awareness. We've talked about self-awareness today. With acceptance and with inner peace. So please remember, stop chasing confidence. Start being flow-rageous. And don't forget to leave your backpack behind. Unless, of course, it is now full of chocolate.